Okay, this morning we're going to get pretty hot and heavy into doing some of these Wharncliffes. I got some handle scales water cut. I got a whole stack of blades. I got 2 Damascus and 2 stainless. Here's the stainless water cut blade. They do pretty good, and this is my cutout of this is the bird's eye, the billet that I made in the previous videos. This is the blue side that I colored blue for the. Basically, when I did this, I took the whole billet, drilled the 2 3/16 pivot pin holes, set one of these water cut blanks on top of it, clamped it down, and then traced around, and then cut it out of the bar. This has the thumb stud, and that's what I'm doing next with this stainless, and the next one I already have jigged up. I'm going to be drilling the thumb stud hole, and then I got 1 Damascus that I've already cut 1 blade bevel on last night, so I already got it flipped over. I'll be cutting that and probably take some video cutting that, and then I'm going to show you how I jig up the handles to do the holes and get everything fitting right. I don't heat treat my blades until after the handle's done. That way, if I need to file a little bit and get the lockup going just right, everything's still soft, so it's easier to adjust the lockup that way. And when everything's working right, then I go to heat treat. And just to throw out what I do for heat treat, I start out, I grind at 60 grit, goes into the forge, gets hardened, goes, oil bath, the whole 9 yards. Out of the oil bath, it's going to have that nice black coating that I showed you in one of the previous videos with Doug. That nice black coating, because all those 60 grit scratches, that black can be down in those 60 grit scratches. It's real easy to see when you get all those 60 grit scratches out with the 240. I use a 3M Gator Trizac belt. They last about 10 times longer than most. They stay nice and cool. I run them about half my normal speed, so they cut real nice. And it's real easy with that black coating on there to see when you get all those 60 grit scratches out. That way you know you're done. And then from the 240, it's still hard. It goes into the oven. The stainless, this CPM S30V needs 2 cycles of 2 hours each at 400 degrees in the oven with air cool in between. So this will go in with my Damascus, because this also gets 400 degrees for 2 hours. So the first cycle, all 4 knives are going to be in there, and then I'll pull up all 4 knives, let them air cool with the oven still on, so I don't lose my heat. It only takes about 5 minutes to air cool. I'll set them by the sink or whatever, and then I'll be ready to rock and roll with these. And then these are going to go back in the oven for another 2 hours, and after that they'll be at about a 60 Rockwell, and then after these get out of the oven, I'll be about a 58, 59 Rockwell. And that's the difference between the steels. It might be the same temperature in the oven, but it brings the hardness down to different levels depending on the alloys in the steel. The S30V uses vanadium to make vanadium carbides, and that's what makes it tough and wear really long. Where this uses the carbon, uses carbon carbides. So that's also very good, a lot better than like 440C, which uses chromium carbides, which are softer. A combination of chromium and the higher carbon content. But that's one of the reasons why I chose the S30V. Is the S30V has almost the same wear properties as this one, the Damascus, but it's a stainless, so it's like, I want to say 14% chrome. I mean, this you can almost just leave this in acid and it won't do anything. It's a very high performing steel. Only problem with S30V is you can't get a mirror finish on it. So you're always, I only do satin finish on these. which is a great working finish, so you don't have to worry about scratches during use, because it's basically got 400 grit scratches all over it. So that's my little rant on that. I'll go into showing you how most of my jigs work. I got one jig plate that works awesome for almost everything I do, which works out good. I mean, it was just a piece of scrap steel, and I mean, you can throw one together from your shop, whatever you got laying around, and have pretty much the same jig that will work for a majority of your knives that you're doing. So here we go. So I'm sure you've seen this jig plate before. I had to, because this is now a 1/4 inch thick, I had to bring my toe clamp up a little bit. You can kind of see the toe clamp there. I had a little longer 5/16 screw to that. This is 115 thou. I don't remember what number drill bit it is. I want to say it's like, don't quote me on that, it's probably like a 14 or something, but that happens to coincide quite nicely with my thumb stud, this shoulder right here, right there. So this shoulder will drop inside the knife, and this will be basically what's showing here. Oop. Like that. So we got one that I've already set up precision. It's going to act as my jig top plate. Like I said before, drill bits don't typically cut on the sides. I mean, you can make them cut on the sides, but in most normal operations they don't cut on the sides, so you don't have to worry too bad about the hole. But this will get me right where I need to be, drill, and finish the job. Just as a side note, what I typically use for my cutting oil is automatic transmission fluid. It's nice and slippery. It's a little bit more slippery than engine oil, and I tend to have a lot of it around the shop because I do a lot of car work and aircraft work. So ATF's usually around the shop. Got a little bit of the drill bit, hopefully the chip. Probably noticed that they don't make nice ribbons. This S30V machines, the chips machine a lot like a cast iron. And actually the grain structure, when you really look at it, looks a lot like cast iron too, especially when it breaks. It has that crystally weird, it's a really interesting, because of CPM, very interesting steel structure. So, but that's how that works. I just have one of my pivot pins in here, locating pivot pin hole, toe clamp, top deal. There you go. This is my ferric chloride. I got a knife blade in here. Just spent 30 minutes in the bath. And this is Windex. So to neutralize the ferric chloride, to stop the acid from etching, we're just going to douse the heck out of this with Windex. Because the acid is an acid and the Windex is a base. Most cleaners are bases. So neutralize the acid. Yeah, we'll try to. That's what it looks like straight out of the acid. It looks really nice and high contrast. It'll fade a little bit. Now from here I'm going to go into a 600 grit and just lightly sand it. This is just water. before the acid bath, I ground this to 400 grit on the grinder and then hand sanded it to 600. And what I'm doing right now is just hitting, see the shiny spots, the light silver spots, those are high spots. That's the 15 and 20 that resisted the acid etch. So we're just hitting tops of that to make them a little bit more shiny. Brighten them back up. That's why I'm not going real hot and heavy on the sanding. Okay, so I took my first pass at 30 thou depth. I'm going to do a second pass at 30, and the other side I did 70, so we'll see what 70 looks like. Total depth. And this one's set at a different degree than the other jig down there. And it was my first test jig, so we're still using it. So, go ahead and add another 30,000. Okay, so got the pivot pin, stop pin, Teflon washer. I use 20 thou thick Teflon washers, mainly because I thought I was ordering 10 of them. I ordered 10 packages, so I got 100 of them because I never double check anything ordering. Doesn't help when you do it in the middle of the night. But what I'm adding here is just a real thin dab. This is a marine boat and trailer grease, wheel bearing grease. Well, throw that on there. Okay, so I figured you guys might want to see how I sharpen a knife. This has about 20 thou thickness on the edge here, which is right where I like it, especially for a pocket knife. Like a camp knife, I usually do like 40 thou, so it's more a little bit more like a chisel edge, so you know you got the chopping, you got more material behind the cutting edge. But for a pocket, everyday utility knife, 20 thou, 15 to 20 thou is what I like. This belt is an A65 Norton Trizac Gator belt. You can see. What's up, babe?
Oh, I wonder where you went. You were like just here a second ago. I'm like, where'd Dad go? Fucking crazy nut ball.
A65 is 240 grit. We're going to start out with that on the flat platen, and then when we get to a cutting edge, we're going to switch to a 600, and we're going to slack belt it up here. So going for about a 7.5 degree angle. You notice, see this pedal here is A30 Norton Trizec, about 600 grit, and I'm going to slack belt grind right here. I'm going to keep the same blade angle. And what I'm looking for, and when I look down this cutting edge, I can see when it's the sharpness that I want, you'll see a hair, a burr come up. That's called raising a hair. You can also feel it with your thumb if you go like this. You can feel that burr. The other thing I'm doing is I'm polishing all those 240 grit scratches out to 600. Okay, this is my buffer I use only for steel. On this wheel, this is a Cecil wheel, spiral sewn, and I use a Black Rouge, a cut and color bar, and this is right around 800 grit. And then on the loose muslin wheel, I use, man that's dirty, I gotta clean that. This is a pink scratchless, this is made for stainless. It does amazing with regular steel also, and this is 1500, 3000 grit roughly. It's a little bit higher grit than the white polishing, and I bought, these are 3-pound things, and this will last me the next 20 years probably, so I mean you don't use a whole lot of this shit. But loose muslin, pink, Cecil spiral sewn, black. And this is just a 1 horsepower 8-inch buffer, long shaft. So what I'm doing with the black here, it's going to bring it up to 800, and I'm going to basically, it's like using a leather strap on a razor blade. I'm going to break this hair that I raised off. By working it, you know, like if you take a piece of metal and you bend it, it eventually breaks off. I'm doing that same thing with this hair. When that hair breaks off, it's right about 2 to 4 atoms wide at the cutting edge, so it's razor sharp. Now with the cut and color, or with the pink, I'm just gonna make those scratches on the edge all uniform. Now we can test it, see how she shaves. Does pretty nice. Yeah, a close up of the knife for you. I just got one little final polish and put my name on it. I'm probably going to keep this for myself, but if someone wants this, we can negotiate a price. I'm thinking around 400. This took me a week and a half total to make. That's it. Thanks for watching.